What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to YGOPD, your Yu-Gi-Oh! Professional Development, and today I am extremely excited to bring back one of my most favorite archetypes I've had the privilege of playing with some insane new synergy from post-Photon Hypernova. This is Punk with Gold Pride. I'm sure you've seen a couple lists pop up already. I was fortunate enough to get all of the Gold Pride stuff through my couple of pre-releases, so I wanted to go ahead and make sure I pump this out to all of you. Of course, before I hop into it, a huge shout out to our public subs of the channel. Akrop, Gabe, Manny, Ro, and Marco. Thank you all so much for joining. If you would like to be a part of the channel and subscribe, please do. It really does help the channel. It does help the algorithm. Please leave a like, comment. It really does go a long way. And a huge shout out to our Punk Duelist group on Facebook. If you have not checked that out, it's an insane community. We just hit over 4K members, and I figured this would be a great time to go ahead and post this and honor that group as well. So with all that said, let's go ahead and hop right into the main deck. Okay, starting off with the main deck, this is going to look maybe a little bit different, and I wanted to intentionally make it a bit more unique just to showcase the options that you have available to you when playing this build. So starting off, we have 3 Foxy Tune. I finally have a chance to break out my wonderful CRs. These are the only CR core I've owned of anything, so I am glad that it is Punk, and I'm glad I have a chance to show it back off. But the Punk stuff, you want as many starters as possible, all those 1 or 1.5 card combos if you consider the discard, to get exactly what you need, putting up a ton of interruptions or negates. In line with that, we play 3 Z Amun, another incredible starter to the deck. Punk is going to be absolutely critical for the Gold Pride engine, as the Gold Prides are all extenders that special summon themselves when your life points are lower than your opponent's, which is what this stuff lets you do. All of them pay 600 as cost to then activate a respective effect. Z Amun is just a Rhoda for any Punk monster. Other than itself. And then we of course play the triple Ogre Dance. I'm going a little bit heavier on the Punk side. You could lower this a bit and play around with the new Synchro, the Therians. There's a lot of different things you could do, but this is kind of where I have landed right now. So that is the kind of main Punk starters there. And of course, for the other Punk monsters that aren't at 3, we are playing 2 Deer Note here, which is pretty straightforward. You could play 1, but with Kashtira entering the fray, you really do need at least 2 of most of your names, or at least names that you get you value and you really want to see a lot, just because they manage stuff face down. But I think Deer Note being one of the best extenders, unfortunately it's a level 5 that you need something else to summon her with, but otherwise it's a really good piece that you would want at least at 2. For now, I think you can get away with playing 1 of the remaining names. One of the Shark that lets you fuse and then quick synchro on your opponent's turn. Madam Spider that lets you search either the Imperm or the piece of disruption for a pop. And Wagong that gets you the field spell. You can still play in combo without having to have these 1-ofs. You can still climb, do whatever else. But that's why I think you can get away with 1 of them for now. But you can up them if you wish. But deck space is so tight, and Punk is, in at least more pure builds, quite the hefty engine. So you want to take slots where you can. And then rounding it out, we have 3 emergency teleport. I think that's pretty straightforward and not anything too crazy there. And then rounding out the engine, we just play 1 of the field spell and 1 Gabu. Again, you could play the pop over this, and you could play multiple field spell if you want. I just wanted some other spaces in here, and the field spell isn't 100% necessary. It's amazing, don't get me wrong, but with the Gold Pride, you're not playing 20 hand traps, so that extra draw is not always going to be as good as you want, and you might just be getting extra extenders or names you've already used. So really, it's just in here for the extra special summon in your combos. So that's it for the Punk engine, and then I will go ahead and switch into the Gold Pride piece. So the newly released cards, we start off with Triple Carry. This is probably the best Gold Pride, ironically, though it is not a secret. Carry basically lets you on summon add a Gold Pride trap from your deck to your hand. That is what lets you pop and make your disruptions and make all your plays happen. So that's really the most powerful piece there that you have to utilize. But in tandem with that, we still do play Triple Leon. Leon is kind of the backbone of that trap card. When it specials a Punk from your deck, you typically will try to get Leon as best as you can. Leon will then get back Carry. Carry ideally can then get you another trap, I believe. I don't remember if the effects are negated or not, but Leon lets you quick synchro into the new synchro for the Gold Pride engine, getting you 2 pops. So basically the trap gets you a disruption as well as the synchro. So it's a quick pop 2 engine that is really, really solid. And then we also play 2 Nitro Head. You can play more, but I wanted at least 8 names to ensure the trap could resolve about 2 times if I had it. But Nitro Head is a little bit interesting. I actually like it a lot. The problem is it just special summons the token during your opponent's standby phase. I wish it could summon it at any point, but unfortunately that's when that happens. So you really do want to go first with this card particularly. But it pops all monsters or spell traps in the adjacent column or zones to that token. So basically, if you have a token here, it would pop stuff right here, the adjacent locations. So that's just something to keep in mind there. And it's just a good level 8 extender. And then lastly, we're on 2 of the trap. Again, with Kashtira entering the fray, I really do think you need at least 2. So that way you can guarantee search 1 and resolve your combo. So that's it for the Gold Pride engine. And then I'm throwing a tech in here because, again, I wanted this build to be as versatile as possible, a little bit different, and showcase all of the different options you can take this with in terms of just Punk and Gold Pride. Punk Kashtira is a whole nother animal with all the cash stuff coming out, and I might retouch that in a little bit. But for now, I do have this in here, the Ghost Trick Shot. I've showcased this engine a little bit before, but if you are curious about using the rank 3 side of things to make a F0, this is the route you want to go. You need to dedicate a bit of extra deck slots and just 1 main deck slot in Ghost Trick Shot, but it really does come through. I'll showcase that in a little bit later, and I'll go ahead and link to in the description to a video where I showcase that combo as well. So yep. And then the rest of the deck is just flex spots. There's about 10 slots left that add us up to 40, and you can kind of go any way you want. You could just do hand traps. You could try to make a read on meta calls and do a card like Crossout Designator with specific cards like Shifter or Nibiru, or you could work around and try other techs like in tandem with that. Tactics, Crossout, you could do the new tactics. You could even do Small World. The Gold Prides make excellent Small World bridges now to help get you to the Punks or vice versa to the Gold Pride engine. So but I'll put that aside and I'll just showcase what I am using right now. And I'm just kind of going for our general set of hand traps here. Starting off, we're just going to kind of have a couple pairs here. 2 Nibiru, and then after that we play 2 Imperm and 2 Ash. These are kind of the mainstay 3 heavy hitter hand traps of the upcoming format. So I really do think you could get away with Crossout Designator, a Shifter maybe thrown in here along with a few other things. I just wanted stuff that was a little bit more usable and not a little less going first dependent. So and then the new card, one of the most insane cards from the new set, is Triple Tactics Thrust. I think of any deck for it to fit in, it really does go well in the Punk Gold Pride, especially if you just open Punks and you're kind of getting hand trapped and you're not really getting access to the other side of your engine. Thrust lets you just set that Gold Pride trap right to your board, and then you at least know you have plays on your opponent's turn moving forward. So I think any deck that plays like that can really make use of this card, and I think the Punk Gold Pride engine is definitely one of them. And then rounding out the deck at 40, we just play 1 Ghost Ogre and 1 Called by the Grave. Ghost Ogre, generally a level 3 psychic that you can just add off Jam Drive. Again, this is not needed. You could always cut this for like a 1 of D Shifter if you're really concerned about that meta and add in Crossout Designators. Called by is pretty straightforward, but having the extra target should you open absolutely incredible just to get another piece of disruption is always solid. And this isn't terrible against some of the Kashtira Xyz or bodies on the board. So that's it for the main deck. I'll go ahead and showcase the extra deck. Okay, for the extra deck, I'm going to showcase this in a few different packages. The good thing about Punk is you're never really limited in what you're able to do, so you can take this a few different ways. I'm going to showcase a lot of the different options this build particularly has available to it, but I highly recommend you to test it, and then whichever piece you're the biggest fan of, to double down on that. Just because of Kashtira being able to banish pieces from your extra deck, you might want to have doubles of a certain card or triples even if you're that concerned. So right now, this is not Kashtira friendly in terms of the extra deck because I want to showcase you all the options you have to mess around with. But of course, depending on which package in the extra deck you like the most, feel free to go all in on that and add a couple extra copies. So starting off with the links, this is pretty standard. You got the 3 heavy hitters of kind of the format in different capacities at different points. 1 Underworld Goddess, clearing the unclearable. The Tryhard is just a beast for decks to really get around. Some decks just can't out that entirely. And then Access Code just to help clean things up. Again, all 3 of these are incredible options that you have available to you. After that, for the Punk/Synchro side of things, we have 1 Amazing Dragon, 1 Jam Drive, and 1 Shar Kusai. Again, if you're going pure punk and you're going pure on all this and you just want to make sure that you don't want this extra stuff and you want to focus on, really getting your combos live, you can easily replace the slots I mentioned earlier for a second copy of one of those three, or actually one extra of each one should you want to do that. But these are all really good. This is what helps you make your plays happen. This searches you pretty much anything you want. And this is the disrupt on your opponent's turn for a bounce of up to 3. So really, really good cards there. And then it wouldn't be a punk deck without having the amazing generic option of Psychic and Punisher. This is still viable in the deck just because Nitro Head is a level 8. So this card helping to close out or again just eliminate games on its own is just such a house. So have to always play at least one. This is definitely a card I would consider playing 2 of moving forward. After that, we do play, again, one of the Gold Star Leon. You can, again, play a second copy if you want. This just has the effect on summon that it gets to pop an opponent's monster. So, again, this is just another piece of disruption that you can use for the Gold Pride engine. And again, I would play 2 of it if you're worried about Kashtira specifically. And then the other options kind of tie back to that Ghost Trick piece I was talking about earlier. How that engine works is essentially you're making 2 level 3s to make a Ghost Trick Alucard. From there, you're adding that card, Ghost Trick Shot, that I mentioned earlier. It is just a Monster Reborn for Alucard. So all you do is overlay 1 Mischief, use Mischief detaching Alucard to add that shot back, special that Alucard, special a second Mischief by overlaying on the Alucard again. And then from there, you have your access to your 2 F-Zeros, both Utopic Future and the Draco Utopic Future, just your insane powerful monster negate. In any deck that plays this engine, I would always recommend still, again, it's a rank 3, so you can play Downard and Zeus. So really, really powerful engines. Alucard can always get back the shot again, even after you've gone through that full combo. So you can always, on the follow-up, Reborn Alucard, attack, make Downard, and then still have a 2 material Zeus on the follow-up. So that's it for the deck. That's kind of how the extra deck and the main deck can look for now. Again, there's tons of different ways to do it. I'll showcase a quick test hand just showing how the Gold Pride can really interact with E-Punk. Okay, we're going to showcase a quick combo on how the Punk and the Gold Pride works. Truly, you're just paying life points, doing Punk stuff, and then doing the Gold Pride at the end of the combo. And that's really all there is to it. I'll showcase a basic Punk combo and then show how the Gold Pride then is live because of that. So we'll go ahead and start with the Emergency Teleport, getting a copy of Xiamen from our deck to our field. And then from there, we'll go ahead and use Xiamen, paying 600 to get a copy of Ogre Dance, discard the Ogre Dance to then add a copy of Sharkusai from our deck to our hand. Then we can normal that Shark, pay the 600 again, fuse these 2 off into a copy of our Rising Carp. From there, we contribute Rising Carp to get 2 more names. So we'll get rid of that. We can get a copy of the not Madam Spider, Deer Note and Wagong to our field. Pay for Wagong, get a copy of the field spell, and activate it over here. And then from there, you can go ahead and synchro both of these into a copy of Jam Drive. So we'll go ahead and get rid of those 2, make our Jam Drive. And then from there, what we're going to do is trigger our Jam Drive effect to search. So we're going to go ahead and add a copy of Madam Spider, and then we'll go ahead and draw 1 in a new chain. Again, it could be imperm, it could be whatever you want. In this case, it's just an extra interrupt. And then from there, what we can go ahead and do is we're going to have Deer Note as our chain link 2. I kind of did that out of order, but you'll special summon back the Sharkusai. From there, what you can do is you can use the field spell, banishing any Punk that you want from your grave. I'll banish the Dark in this case just to keep it out of graveyard, to special summon the Madam Spider from our hand. Then we'll go ahead and trigger Madam Spider, use her effect to add the Gabu from our deck to our hand, and then draw another card. Again, Ash, great, but it could be anything. Again, those are just the extra draws here, just to simulate a best position possible. And so from there, what you can go ahead and do is you can special summon Captain Carry because your life points are lower than your opponent. Trigger Carry, go ahead and use her effect to add a copy of the Trap to our hand, which is going to pop one of their monsters when they summon, and then synchro and pop another card that they have. And then from here, you can actually go ahead and take these 2 and overlay directly and do our Ghost Trick line. So what we're going to go ahead and do is overlay into a copy of Alucard. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and overlay into a copy of Mischief. Mischief effect will detach. And we'll go ahead and add a copy of Ghost Trick Shot from our deck to our hand. So we'll go ahead and grab that. And then from here, what we will go ahead and do is use the Ghost Trick Shot special summon back the Alucard, and then we can overlay into a second Ghost Trick Angel of Mischief. And then from there, what we're going to do is overlay these two. All the materials then fall off into our first F0. And then Alucard's effect Engrave will trigger, adding us back the shot. So if we wanted to do a Zeus play on the follow-up, we most certainly can. So we'll go ahead and add that. And then you'll overlay into your final F0 for Utopic Draco Future. And that's pretty much the basic combo. It doesn't really look like a lot, but it does end on quite a bit. You have the negate and take with the Utopic Draco Future as one interruption. You have the Synchro that can bounce up to the number of punks that you have, punk tuners specifically. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3 different names here, up to 4 considering the Sharakusai. So you're going to have a bounce up to 3 to 4. And that's after that, you're also going to have a pop with the trap, plus a pop with the Synchro that comes out from your extra deck, our new Gold Pride boy himself. That's another interrupt, plus the Gabu, which is another monster negate. And then from there, you still have 5 cards left in hand, 3 unknown that you started with, and 2 other draws that could be hand traps, as well as the Ghost Trick Shot to have a Zeus play on the follow-up. So that's the basic idea of the deck. It does a heck of a lot. There's a lot of different ways you can take this. I hope you all enjoyed it. And with that said, I will see you all in the next one. Later.